When you make that final commitment, when you've decided you've tried enough different things, and that's why I think, and if you're in your 20s, go ahead, try things. Go try until you find something that you love and you find that, wow, this is really easy for me. I enjoy it and it's catching on. Because how long did it take you to actually start feeling like you were a true top level professional in your own industry? Did it happen in a year or two?
No, like I've been doing it for almost 10 years, and I will say maybe within the last 2 years do I feel like, okay, we're at our level, but still learning, still expanding, still so much to go.
I think you're being humble. I think you started getting into the top of your profession probably about 4 years ago. Now you're just at the peak, like you're just like way ahead of other people across the board.
I don't know. It's interesting because maybe, but I do feel like there is so much improvement that we're still kind of working on, and whenever I do see something that, within our field that I'm like, oh, maybe we should do this. Like it feels like our industry maybe is evolving very, very quickly with the advancement of equipment and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to me personally, I would say 5 years in, I felt like, yeah, when you were looking at my photos, my videos, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is, at that time, was pretty top tier stuff, for sure. But I remember, actually, speaking about the whole rabbit thing, I remember you sitting me down as well. I was looking to also dabble into other businesses. I wanted to build a couple of like online brands, and again, following the social media guys, right? And I remember you telling me, saying like, Chip, like, you got something really good going on here. You just have to focus on becoming an expert in this and then expanding the business that you already know, right? He's like, you're a business, expand in that business.
Yeah.
And that is what I ultimately decided to do. I still dabbled in that other stuff, and it took away, actually that was my worst year. The year that I decided to not focus exactly on my business was the year I ended up doing the worst. And then ultimately I ended up expanding the business I knew the best, and it was life-changing, truly life-changing.
Life-changing is when you make that final commitment, when you've decided you've tried enough different things. And that's why I think, and if you're in your 20s, go ahead, try things. Go try until you find something that you love and you find that, wow, this is really easy for me. I enjoy it and it's catching on. At some point in time, no matter what you do, it's going to become redundant. It's going to become, an everyday thing, almost like a factory job where you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again all day. But, it's the little differences. First, you have to get to that level, and then you have to get understanding that this is what you've decided to do. And no matter what job you do, it's going to feel like that at the end of the day. It's going to feel a little bit redundant even if you're like, it doesn't matter who, even if you're a podcaster or if you're a YouTuber, at some time you're just sort of running the circle, running the motions, and you have to keep that motivation. You got to keep that going. But no matter what you do, I'm trying to put it into perspective again. You got to stop jumping from one thing to another thing. You got to stop jumping from one side of the road to the other side, trying the latest fad. You know what they're all trying to do? You know what everyone's trying to do? Get rich quick. That's really what I think everyone's trying. Oh my God, crypto, it's going to get rich quick. And then they put everything they got in crypto, and boom, they don't even know what they're investing in. They don't even know what they're putting themselves into. They think they know what they're doing, and then boom, it's gone. And I'm sure some people are going to make a fortune at it because they really know what they're doing. And then there's the next thing, stock markets. I tried doing real estate and stock markets at the same time. Really overwhelming. Can't do it. You can't do stocks and you can't do real estate at the same time. You have to focus on one or the other. And once I put my full-time energy in, like a lot of people don't realize the ups and downs that anybody goes through. But for me, I got married in 2012. I opened up my brokerage in 2012. And at the same time, I was almost going bankrupt. So because I got invested into a stock.
Talk about pressure.
Yeah, right. So I still got married, thank God. And then, I went on my honeymoon, and what happened was I disconnected from everything because I don't know, did we talk about this last time or no? We didn't bring this up, right?
No.
So anyways, so what happened was I go on the train. And so I told the wife, we're going to go on the train, right? So we get on the train and we take it across Canada. And when you're into the prairie lands or just the farmlands, flatlands, there's no cellular. So you get fully disconnected. So I got fully disconnected for 3 full days. I arrived into Edmonton and I closed down all my stock market accounts. My head got clear, my thoughts got clear, everything got clear. And I closed down all my stockbrokers accounts and I shut it down. And I told my wife, Sandra, I'm just going to go full-time real estate. And when I got back, all I did was I was up $1 million, a couple million. I sold everything, closed it off, took the little money that I had left bankrupt. If I kept in the stock markets, I would have been bankrupt if I didn't make that change, make that decision. Went full-time real estate. And by summer that month, we had done such a great job rocking and rolling. And I ended up buying my first brand new house. I put the down payment on it and away we went, right? So it was a game changer. And from there, it just kept growing. So that was 13, 14, 15, 16. And now we're in 2022. How the time flies, I really don't know. Let's continue on talking about a major topic that I think you really were struggling with at some point. And we had a one-on-one. It was really amazing to sit down and to see the launch pad that you had after this, after we had this one-on-one session. And really, we talked about how you were getting to your outer circle, you were getting to that zone, and then you sort of bounce back and you were saying how you're going from here and then going back and then going from here and then going back. And we're talking about, well, how do we break out of that? And, you know, and how you felt. I think we talked about it. We touched base on the last episode. You talked a little about how you felt the vacations were actually causing you to feel like they were the ones that were stopping you, which was actually starting to get you to feel a little down, because the thing that you're trying to make money to achieve and do is what you love, is to go on vacations and enjoy all the experience from the different worlds. And you started to feel, and you connected that to your business not succeeding. That's a massive problem. Don't you agree? Don't you see that as being
here's
an issue?
how I did it. Well, here's the thing. And I think a lot of people are going to have this problem, because what I started doing when I was like, wait a minute, like I wasn't focusing as much on necessarily the money coming in more than the money going out. So I started tracking my spending, which I never had done before. And I'm sure some financial advisors are like, yes, track every cent. It's very good, whatever. But it put me in this mentality of looking at my spending and seeing like, oh my God, look at us. Like, why did we go to Hawaii again? Why go to Vancouver? Like, we should have just stayed home and just saved this money, because look, now the money's gone. And now I'm starting to worry about payments and things like that, right? So that mentality, I think, was what started it all. I looked at my bank account and I'm like, oh, okay, what are my biggest expenses? Oh, our vacations? Okay, so clearly this is the problem to me not succeeding, which now, after, you know, many years, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But that's what it started. So I came to you telling you my vacations are ruining my career.
And so we sat down, and for me, this was obviously a total disconnect. I right away picked up that there's no way this can be wrong, because vacations are one of the most motivating, goal-setting, enjoyable things we can do on this planet. And as people, it's something we plan, we enjoy, we set goals to achieve, and it makes us go. And I know how much you love to travel and vacation as much as I do. So really, I knew there was a disconnect there, and we had to sit down. So I go, okay, Chip, let's sit down. Let's start reviewing everything and seeing where the cost was and what's actually stopping your success from occurring. And one of the things we started analyzing is, first, what you have to do, just anybody, you're going to sit down first and foremost, and you want to see what you're doing in a day, and you want to track it. So your first step is, where's your time going to? Because every minute, every hour, and let's just talk about an hourly basis, every hour that you spend has a value to it. It's your time value. You're either receiving or you're giving. One of the two, right? You're either putting out and receiving a certain amount of pay for the work that you're doing, or whatever activity you're doing, or you're enjoying life and you're getting entertained and you're going to a concert, and there's a cost involved to everything back and forth. So every hour of your time on this world is going to have a value of giving or a value of receiving. So at this point in time, we sat down with Chip and we analyzed it. I get up in the morning, this is how much time, this is what time I get up, and then I have my breakfast, I go to work, I have my lunch, and then I go back to work, and then I drive home, and then I come home, and then, you know, Cassie's going on an airplane, usually around 7, 8 o'clock. And then from 8 o'clock until about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm watching YouTube. And I go, huh? He goes, yeah,
I kind of slipped that in there. I slipped it in there.
Yeah. I go, how many hours? First, actually, I think he told me, a few hours. And I go, exactly how many hours is a few hours, Chip? And he goes, well, you know, let me think about it. He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, usually about maybe 6 hours a day I'm doing you. I go, every day? Are you talking Saturday and Sunday? He goes, yeah, every day. And I'm going, OMG. All right, let's talk about this. So what you had done, what did you connect YouTube to, though? Because you said you were watching people and how they were becoming successful and different cameras they were using. So you had actually connected watching YouTube to your time as a certain value. But I don't think you actually connected the fact, and a lot of people are doing is that how much time is being wasted and how much it's costing you. And so what we did is we installed this new thought process that had a huge effect on your ability not only to stop watching YouTube, but then taking that same time and putting it towards something that actually paid out. So what were you first connecting? What, just share a little bit of what you were connecting to YouTube to and why you kept watching 6 hours a day.
It was definitely personally, for me, part of it was entertaining value, for sure, entertainment value, but obviously then you start tricking yourself into thinking, oh, this is helping me. Me watching somebody else be successful is automatically gonna make me successful. And that was something that I truly got to believe in after obviously watching, 40 hours or 30 hours a week of it. It makes you, you're kind of almost trapped into it. It becomes a routine, right? Talk about, the whole routine thing. You build a habit out of it, and then you almost don't even notice it.
Yeah, it was almost sinking your career.
Like
you were almost out the door. It was getting a little bit depressed. You weren't sure if this was actually going to work out for you, and how setting goals like vacations were not going to is not working in your favor, and how it was stopping you from succeeding. And a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people have this wrong connection from one thing to another thing. They're connecting the wrong dots of what's causing them to succeed and not succeed. And it can blow people up, like literally blow people up. And it was a great experience to actually see the turnaround that you had. And so what we did first and foremost, so the first step you want to do is find out what that issue is, where that time is. And it's usually going to be something that you're spending 2 or 3 hours a day on. And then you're sitting there and wondering why you're not succeeding, or why you can't afford certain things, or why, you're not, your business is not taking off. So once you find that, once you've analyzed your schedule on a weekly basis, now what you do is when you're doing something for an hour, or you're doing it for 2 hours or 3 hours, and in your case was extreme, 6 hours a day, not a week, a day, is what we calculate. 5 to 6 hours a day, Hans, a day. 7 days a week, Hans. And I was like, all right. And you were just in this zone right now where you were just telling me, honestly, like you were just in this truth zone, and it was great. Almost like you were hypnotized. No clue what's going on. I'm just going to tell him. I'm trusting him. I'm going to tell him what's going on, and let's see what he comes up with. And so what we did was, you have to understand, if it's 1 hour a week, and this is the thought process. Yeah, I mean, I had my board. I could show it to you. It's much better in writing, but we'll probably pop something up on the screen as we go along. You have to visualize 1 hour a day is 7 hours a week. Now you got to take 7 hours, right? And times that by 52. What is that? It's 300 and, someone bust out a calculator. Go ahead, Chip. He's got the calculator going really quickly.
364.
364. Now, okay, so we really don't even know what that means. Now, all you have to do is divide it by 40. Divide it by 40, 364.
9.1.
So you're spending 9 full work weeks watching YouTube in a year. That's pretty much what you're doing from 1 hour. Now, all I need you to do is times that 9 by 6.
Times it by 6. 54.6.
You were spending 54 weeks on YouTube watching based on a year. So you could have put 56 work weeks in compared to watching that hourly YouTube. That's how much time you're putting in. And we calculated then, if you want to go to an hourly basis, you were doing 6. So we're doing 6 hours a day. And I asked you, so Chip, if you don't mind me asking, what's your hourly rate? And you told me at the time,
I think it was 150 or 100.
No. You told me $50 an hour, $50 an hour. You can see how much you succeeded since then. You can see how $150, $250. Back then, Chip, you told me $50 an hour. That was my rate when we had this meeting, and you can see how well this has turned out. So that was great. So 50 times 6, what is that?
We're looking at 300.
300, okay. And then you take 300 and you times it by 7. Times it by 7.
Oh my God, stop. 2,100.
2,100, and you times 2,100, and you times that by 52.
$109,000.
Which is exactly what we did. And so we calculated just on that if you decided instead of watching YouTube, actually went to work and made your $50 an hour, would that solve all your would that be a life-changing event just by doing
100%.
that? Over 100 G's a year, you would solve all your financial issues. You'd pay all your bills just by making that little switch.